Amidst the towering sentinels of nature's cathedral, I, Jake, found solace. The woods were my sanctuary, my escape from the cacophony of modern life. Each weekend, my heart raced with anticipation as I packed my gear, ready to venture into the untouched wilderness. My soul longed for the whispering leaves, the melodic calls of unseen creatures, and the serenity that only nature could provide. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting an amber glow upon the trees, I set out on my latest adventure. My footsteps were in sync with the rhythm of my heartbeat, a cadence that led me deeper into the heart of the forest. The air was crisp and fragrant, filled with the earthy scent of damp moss and ancient trees. The symphony of rustling leaves and distant birdsong serenaded me as I made my way to my chosen campsite. Hours passed, the sky transforming into a tapestry of stars. A crackling fire danced before me, casting flickering shadows that seemed to chase away the encroaching darkness. I was lost in the beauty of it all, a world untamed and untarnished by human hands. Little did I know, this night would etch a memory into my mind that I could never erase. As the fire's glow cast a protective halo, a chilling breeze whispered secrets through the trees. My skin prickled with a sensation that I couldn't quite place. The once familiar symphony of the woods seemed to falter, replaced by an unsettling silence that clawed at my senses. I brushed it off as my imagination running wild, attempting to dispel the unease that crept into my thoughts. But then, a sound, a rustling not born of the wind. I turned, my eyes scanning the undergrowth, and that's when I saw it. A figure, distant yet distinct, caught in the peripheral vision of firelight. It was like a mirage, weaving between the trees, its form elusive and uncertain. I squinted, my heart hammering in my chest as I strained to make sense of what I was seeing. A sensation of dread crawled up my spine, as though some primal instinct warned me that I was in the presence of something beyond the realm of reason. The figure was tall and slender, its outline both human and otherworldly. As it drew closer, the fire revealed its features, hollow eyes that seemed to hold secrets as old as time itself, and a mouth that stretched into a smile that sent shivers down my spine. The figure's skin was stretched, taut like leather, and its limbs moved with an uncanny fluidity. Paralyzed by fear, I watched as it moved closer, its steps slow and deliberate. A question formed in my mind, a question I dared not utter aloud. Was this the embodiment of the tales I had heard whispered around campfires? The dreaded skinwalker? In that moment, time lost all meaning. My senses were sharpened to a painful degree. Every rustling leaf, every creaking branch amplified as though nature itself held its breath. Panic clawed at my chest and instinct screamed at me to flee, to leave behind the sanctity of my camp and escape the gaze of this otherworldly intruder. But just as the terror threatened to consume me, a sound shattered the silence, the guttural roar of an engine. Headlights sliced through the darkness, revealing a group of fellow campers. They had stumbled upon my campsite, their arrival a beacon of salvation in the face of the unknown. The figure, caught in the glare of the headlights, seemed to shimmer and waver. As the campers approached, the apparition retreated, its form fading into the shadows. My breath returned, ragged and desperate, as the realization hit me. Whatever it was gone. The campers welcomed me into their circle, the safety of their company offering a respite from the terror that had gripped me. But as I shared my encounter, the atmosphere shifted. Hushed conversations spoke of ancient legends, of beings that walked the line between the human and the supernatural. The night wore on, the woods around us seemingly still, yet alive with the weight of secrets and stories passed down through generations. With the dawn came a renewed sense of resolve. I packed my gear, leaving the woods that had once been my refuge. The serenity I had sought had been shattered, replaced by the knowledge that there are forces in this world that defy explanation. Years have passed, but that night remains etched in my memory, a reminder that the woods, though breathtakingly beautiful, can also harbor darkness beyond imagination. I've hung up my camping gear, opting for the urban landscape that now feels safe in its familiarity. Yet even now, as I look out of my window at the city lights, I can't help but wonder what secrets the woods continue to guard, hidden beneath their ancient canopy. So, my friends, as you venture into the woods, remember that nature's beauty can sometimes be accompanied by a sense of unease. The line between reality and legend may blur, and the unknown may lurk just beyond the shadows. Respect the wilderness, embrace its wonders, but never forget that the woods hold mysteries that even the bravest among us may never fully comprehend. heart of the remote Northwoods, where the silence of winter cloaked the land, a tale of ancient terror unfolded. The wind whispered secrets through the towering pines, while the chill in the air seemed to seep into the very bones of those who dared to tread its frost-covered paths. The legend of the Wendigo had always haunted the region, a story passed down through generations. But legends are often thought of as stories of the past, tales meant to entertain by the fire's glow. I was about to learn that sometimes legends have a way of reaching out from the shadows, demanding to be acknowledged. I was a young biologist, drawn to the Northwoods for its untouched wilderness and the promise of groundbreaking research. It was during one of my winter expeditions that I encountered the unknown, a story that still sends shivers down my spine. The landscape was a pristine expanse of white, the snow crunching underfoot as I trekked through the frozen wilderness. The solitude was deafening, the only sound my breath and the occasional call of a distant bird. It was during one of these moments of eerie quiet that I heard it, a whisper on the wind, a sound that seemed both distant and intimate. I halted, my heart racing as I scanned the trees, searching for the source of the whisper. And then I saw it. A figure, distant yet distinct, its form obscured by the falling snow. My breath caught in my throat as I watched it move, its steps both human and inhuman. My instincts urged me to retreat, to return to the safety of civilization and abandon this chilling encounter. But a curiosity burned within me, a desire to understand the unknown. And so, against my better judgment, I followed the figure through the snow-laden woods. As I ventured deeper, the air grew colder, and an oppressive weight settled over the forest. The whispering wind seemed to carry voices from beyond, words that danced at the edge of comprehension. My flashlight cut through the darkness, revealing a scene that defied all logic, a figure that seemed both human and monstrous. Its limbs were elongated, its frame emaciated, as though it had emerged from the grip of famine itself. Its eyes glowed with a malevolent light, its gaze fixing upon me with a hunger that stirred something primal within me. Fear clawed at my chest, but I stood my ground, the biologist in me urging me to observe, to document. The figure emitted a guttural sound, a haunting lament that sent shivers down my spine. Its form seemed to ripple, its shape shifting as though it were born of smoke and shadow. My mind raced, piecing together fragments of legends. The Wendigo, a being consumed by a ravenous hunger for human flesh. As I watched, entranced and horrified, the figure began to retreat, fading into the snowy landscape like a wisp of smoke. I followed, my heart pounding, every step echoing like a drumbeat in the vast emptiness around me. But as I pushed forward, I felt a growing unease, a sensation that the forest itself was alive with malevolence. The trees seemed to close in, their branches reaching out like skeletal fingers. The wind carried whispers that seemed to mock my curiosity, urging me to turn back. And then, the figure reappeared closer now, its eyes locked onto mine. The air grew frigid, and I felt a sensation of being ensnared in a web of ancient power. Panic clawed at my chest, and I turned to flee, my footsteps heavy in the snow. I ran, the forest a blur of white and shadows, my breath ragged and desperate. The chill pursued me, a malevolent force that seemed to have taken on a life of its own. But as I burst through the trees back into the open expanse, the sensation lifted, the oppressive weight dissipating. I returned to civilization, haunted by the encounter that defied explanation. I shared my account with others, the skepticism and disbelief in their eyes a constant reminder of how far the legend of the Wendigo had strayed from reality. Yet for me, that encounter had shattered the boundary between myth and reality, leaving me with an understanding that the unknown can be far more terrifying than we dare to imagine. As I sit now recounting that chilling tale, I'm reminded that some mysteries are meant to remain unsolved, some legends meant to be respected. The Northwoods still hold their secrets, their whispers carried on the wind, their stories woven into the very fabric of the land. As you venture into the unknown, remember that sometimes it's best to leave the shadows untouched. The world is a realm of wonders and terrors, and some legends, like the Wendigo, may hold truths far more terrifying than we can comprehend. Embrace the beauty, respect the mysteries, and always tread cautiously in the heart of the unknown. Amidst the tranquility of our home on the border of a vast American state forest, my wife Sarah and I reveled in the isolation. We were kindred spirits, drawn to the serenity of nature's embrace, and our cabin nestled among the towering trees was our haven from the world's chaos. The forest was our canvas, its vibrant colors painting the changing seasons. We explored its depths, finding solace in its quiet symphony, the rustle of leaves, the whisper of the wind, and the soothing babble of the nearby stream. The woods offered a haven from the demands of modern life, a sanctuary where time moved at its own pace. Yet nestled within this peace there lingered stories, whispers of things beyond comprehension, tales of creatures that defied explanation, of skinwalkers who could take on the forms of animals or humans, weaving through the forest with an unsettling blend of familiarity and otherness. One autumn evening, as the setting sun cast a warm glow upon the foliage, Sarah and I set out for an evening walk. Our fingers intertwined, we followed the well-worn path that wound through the trees, our laughter blending with the rustling leaves. The forest felt alive, its energy resonating with ours. As twilight descended, a chill settled in the air and we turned back toward our cabin. But as we retraced our steps, a sensation of being watched slithered over me. I brushed it off, attributing it to the encroaching darkness and the stories that had woven themselves into my thoughts. But Sarah, ever intuitive, sensed it too. Her grip on my hand tightened, her steps quickening. A twig snapped behind us, and we both whirled around, our eyes scanning the trees. That's when we saw it, a shadow, fleeting and elusive, slipping between the trunks. My pulse quickened, my breath hitching in my throat as my gaze locked onto the figure. It moved like liquid, weaving through the trees with an unnatural grace. It was humanoid yet twisted, its form both human and animal. Panic surged within me, an instinctual urge to flee, to retreat from this enigmatic presence. Sarah's voice trembled as she whispered, "Do you see that?" I nodded, my heart pounding like a drum. The figure seemed to shift, its silhouette morphing before our eyes. The forest, once comforting, now felt like an alien landscape, every rustle, every shadow casting doubt upon the reality we knew. The figure approached, its footsteps quiet as a whisper, yet each step reverberated through the air, a primal rhythm that echoed in my chest. I could see its eyes, hollow and knowing, staring into my soul with a curiosity that sent shivers down my spine. Time stretched, our world narrowing to the singular presence before us. An indescribable unease clenched my heart, a primal fear that reminded me of my place in the grand tapestry of existence. And then, as though pulled by some invisible thread, the figure began to retreat, its form dissolving into the shadows. As the last traces of its presence vanished, the forest seemed to exhale. Our breaths matched its rhythm, the world around us resuming its familiar cadence. Sarah and I exchanged glances, both of us knowing that we had encountered something beyond explanation. We returned to our cabin, the fire's glow casting dancing shadows upon the walls. We shared our account, our voices mingling with the crackling flames. The encounter defied logic, and yet it remained etched in our memories, a testament to the mysteries that the forest held. Years have passed since that unsettling evening, and our lives have continued along their winding paths. We've never spoken of that encounter to anyone beyond our closest confidants, knowing that few would truly understand the weight of what we experienced. Our cabin remains nestled within the forest's embrace, a testament to our enduring love for its beauty and its secrets. The woods continue to whisper stories, to weave legends that dance at the edge of reality. And as I look out of our cabin window, the trees stand as sentinels, guarding the boundary between the known and the unknown. So, my friends, as you find yourself at the threshold of the wild, remember that the forest is a realm of wonder and uncertainty. The tales that are whispered, the encounters that defy explanation, they are part of the tapestry of life in its rawest form. Embrace the beauty, respect the mysteries, and never forget that the world is a canvas painted with layers of stories waiting to be unveiled.